Hey everyone, Carla here from Documenting the Journey. I am going to have probably a little bit longer of a video today. I am going to be explaining the MakseLife goal setting system. So I'm going to end up using my digital just because I feel like it'll be easier for me to zoom in on certain types instead of me having to do like the, I don't know, camera B-roll stuff. Let's do the horizontal, no, let's go back. Let's do the vertical because that's where I actually have all of my notes anyway. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about the goal setting system and what it really is. I will be doing a review on all of the a lot of the 2023 products coming soon in the next couple of weeks. So I figured before I did that review, it would be nice to kind of tell you what MakseLife is. So MakseLife is a goal setting and weekly planner system kind of combined into one. They have two layouts for their flagship, which is the 7x9 planner in paper. It comes with a wire O coil. I can show you the paper products on October 18th, I think. And so the horizontal basically looks like this. You have Monday through Thursday over here, Friday through Sunday over here. You have a notes and a built-in habit section. You have this little heart down here. Some of the design stuff will be changing for 2023, but you have this little heart down here for gratitude to remind you to be thankful and write out some gratitude every single day. And so this is what the horizontal looks like. The vertical looks like this for layout. It is an untimed vertical layout. So you have Monday through Thursday on one side, and then you have Friday through Sunday on the other with a list space, and the habit tracker is a little bit different in design just because of the height of the columns. You also have a whole box down here for your gratitude as well. And so the flagship comes in two layouts. So if you prefer vertical or horizontal, you've got options. Again, this is the 7x9. They also have the daily layout, which is let's see if I can find it. This is the daily page. Let me get a blank one for you. So they have a daily layout, and this is the daily page. Again, some design stuff might be changing for 2023. You have a list here, you have timed here, you've got priorities, dot grid, and three little gray spaces down here. They also have the weekly overview page with the daily layout also, but I'll go ahead and go, like I said, through all of that stuff also. So they have multiple layouts. They have a lot of different options. They have notepads. They have a bunch of other things. They even have companion notebooks, which just has the goal setting system without the weekly planner stuff in it. And so as far as the actual planner itself, the goal setting system is really what I'm going to be focusing most on, because that's kind of the meats and potatoes of this company. And so this introductory page kind of tells you what MakseLife is all about. Sierra is the founder of the company. In addition to the life coach, she has multiple years as a life coach, and she's got like her little paragraph up here. And then here it says Moxie is a noun. It's energy, pep, courage, determination, and know-how. And she felt that that tied in really well to goal setting. And so that's where she came up with the company name. And then here is the next page. So this is only on the digital because she wanted to give you all of the hex codes here as well. And I just kind of wrote down like my little bullet journal key down there. So when you get into the actual system, it kind of goes over how to get started. So this basically first page tells you what the features are of the planner. To make sure when you're setting goals, you can see I've highlighted a lot of things here, and I've underlined a bunch of stuff as well. But basically when you're setting goals, her biggest thing is to jump in immediately with actions and not necessarily having to do months of prep work, because a lot of times if you do those months of prep work, you might get really overwhelmed with the actual prep work and not really want to start the actual goal setting. So accessible, simple, actionable, and relatable. That's her idea of how to create goals and how to find what is going to work for you. Here it says with progress and growth as the primary objective of goal setting, and make sure that you're setting goals for yourself, not for, you know, so-and-so says that I should be doing X, Y, and Z. I think that I need to do that. Make sure that you're doing all of this just for you. And she's also a really big advocate of it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fall behind. Her slogan is just begin. Even if you take a month off or you're going through a hard time and you're having a hard time kind of jumping back in, there's no really big rhyme or reason to jump back in. Just get in there, go whatever, you know, wherever your flow takes you, and just start anywhere. So here you have the features of the planner, you have notes pages, you have weekly tips, you have your gratitude heart, and you have built-in habit tracking as well. So the big part of this system is the compass assessment, and I'll show you on those next pages as well. So your compass assessment is basically 8 areas of life, and she wants you to take like a 5-minute quiz, fill out all of the stuff, do a little bit of math, and try and figure out where everything is, because a lot of times when you're goal setting, you don't realize that you have some blind spots. And so once you fill out this compass assessment, you'll kind of review everything. You'll set your intentions, and setting intentions creates action, and action creates change. And so when you set your intentions for what you want to do, you will instantly have some motivation to start breaking everything down. She also has in here annual goals and a vision board also. Your monthly goals and your weekly actions. These are the 2 steps that you use to break down your big, huge goals. And then she's also a very big advocate of monthly reflections and quarterly reviews. So in these planners, whether it's the paper or the digital, every 3 months, you'll retake your compass assessment, and then you will kind of see where you're at. You'll rate your scores, and then you can always change your intentions for that next quarter as well. So here's your compass assessment. And so this kind of tells you what your compass assessment is. So here is just the little bullet points. It helps you to recognize opportunities for development, change, or growth. It also helps you track your progress throughout the entire year, because you compare your current to your previous when you're doing those quarterlies. And it also helps you establish a starting point. And so back in 2020, when she first released this, I had no idea what goal setting was all about. I was extremely intimidated, and that's part of the reason I decided to go with her system instead of other goal setting systems, is because I didn't really want that months-long prep work. I wanted to be able to just start somewhere small and then build onto it, and this planner is ideal for that. And so establishing your starting point, the compass assessment is going to be your first step on starting at all, and it's going to be also like your regular checkpoints as far as rechecking in every 3 months, instead of going a whole year with, okay, well, I know I want to lose 50 pounds, and then 8 months down the road, you're like, uh-oh, I've only lost 2 pounds. So this system purposely helps you check in. It makes you put these goals face forward. You have weekly check-ins, you have monthly check-ins, and you have quarterly check-ins. And so the compass assessment also helps you evaluate your life as a whole. So like I said, knowing what area is lacking and knowing what area you're strong in. Maybe you can kind of ease back on your strong areas and start focusing on those areas that you've scored a little bit lower in. It also helps you embrace growth. And so it's a really good area for practicing self-acceptance and practicing that it's okay to be where you're at, but you're working towards something bigger, and you're going to attempt to change and grow. And that's what all of this is about. So here it says your steps for getting started. So you basically do the quiz on the next page. There's 8 areas of life. Once you do the quiz, you answer everything from 1 to 10. So does not apply or strongly applies. And then you average everything there. So I will show you the quiz. I don't think I've ever, in the 3 years that I've been in the system, showed this. So I'm being very vulnerable, so be nice. But this is scores 3 years into the system. I'm almost my 3rd total year in. I did start at the very beginning of 2020. And I will be the first to admit that none of my scores, I think, were above a 6 in any area. I think health and wellness was like a 2 when I first started in 2020. But I wanted to give you an idea of what the questions were. They're not very difficult questions. So in your personal, my basic needs are taken care of. I generally feel happy and fulfilled. I have a positive attitude and outlook on life. So these are the examples of some of the questions. And I will also tell you that before you take this quiz, also do a mental health check-in to see where you're at. If you're in a really hard area of your life and you're like drowning and you are not mentally well, you're really depressed and you're having a hard time, just know that when you go to answer these questions, all of that will be reflected in these questions, and that is okay. It's going to be either way, whatever headspace you're in, it's going to be a starting point. And you can even retake these assessments every month if you wanted to. If you wanted to really keep track of things, you can take them every month. And so just know that whatever headspace you're in is going to affect some of these as well. So fun and recreation examples are, I take regularly planned vacations and time off. I create moments of rest and rejuvenation. I have fun in ways that serve my highest and best self. My social interactions are enjoyable, meaningful, and fun. So work and learning. This one, for the first 2 years, I was a full-time mom. I didn't have a home work balance because I was just home. Home was my work. And so I catered these questions to my job at the time. Now, when I'm taking these quiz, I have a job outside of the home and I'm still a parent. And so a lot of my ideas around these have changed. And as far as learning goes, I use that area for personal education and learning. I'm trying to learn American Sign Language. I want to learn more about different cultures and different values, and I want to learn more about diversity. And so I play all of that into these as well. So some of these examples are, I am contributing to the work in the way that I desire. My work is a true fit for my purpose, strengths, and personal gifts. I am curious and eager to learn. I expand my skills through continued growth and development. So those are some examples of the work and learning. Family and relationships are really just kind of anything that you want that to be. So I'm free of toxic relationships. This one, I think when I first started in 2020, I think I maybe did like a 4, maybe a 5 there. I can't remember, but it was a really low score. And I never even considered this in goal setting. And so that's why I really love this system, is because it kind of brings a lot of different things into play of things that I never would have considered. I have healthy boundaries. That was a 2 in 2020. I did not know how to say no. I did not know how to speak up for myself. I did not know how to advocate for myself and what I wanted. So clearly you can see 3 years into the system, I've had quite a bit of growth. I experience vulnerability and intimacy in my personal relationships. I am present with my family, friends, or significant to others. And then health and wellness. So this is always going to be, well, not always going to be, this is currently my biggest struggle the past multiple years, is health and wellness. I get a significant amount of sleep. I have a regular exercise routine. You like that answer? I am equipped to handle life events with strength and vitality. So this is just kind of the quiz that you take. And so basically, once you answer everything on a scale of 1 to 10, you take all of these numbers, you add it up, and then you divide that total by 8. And that's how you get this number here. So a couple more examples, because I don't want to leave any categories out. So spiritual and personal growth. This one is very unique to me because I'm not a religious person. And so this one is possibly going to be easier for some people that do have really strong religious values. I am very different in my opinions, and I look at this category completely different. So the way I approach this category is personal growth is the majority of the thing. Spiritual for me is gratitude, being thankful, being humble, being happy in every moment, even when we're having a hard time, is kind of reframing and doing a lot of really strong personal mindset shifts. That's how I approach this area. So some of the examples are, I engage in regular spiritual practice, knowing that my spiritual practice is a lot different than some other people's. I seek to learn new things about myself and others. I practice gratitude regularly. My words, thoughts, and actions are congruent with my beliefs and values. So financial, I have a healthy relationship with money. I spend my money responsibly and live within my means. Yeah, that's 100% planner related, by the way. My 6 right there. I have a favorable credit rating. I believe in my ability to acquire wealth. That's like a really strong affirmation, right there. Physical environment is everything from your home to your pets to your vehicles. My home, car, and workplace are clean and safe. I feel organized. I feel supported in the management of my home. And so you basically take all of these scores and then you go back a page and then you fill out this little assessment. So you basically have 1 through 10 here. Of course, I've covered all of mine up. So you fill out all of your assessment, and then the circles represent where do I want to be the next time I take this assessment, whether it's a month from now or 3 months from now. So when I first took this assessment, my wheel was all over the place. And so I think that my health and wellness, I think I said was at a 2. My finances, I think, was at a 5. My personal was maybe at a 3 or a 4. My fun and recreation, I had kids at the time and I didn't work. We had a lot of outdoor time. That one was super high. Work and learning, I was struggling as a full-time mom. That one was really low. Family and relationships was really high. So it wasn't very balanced. And so there was lots of highs and lows. And so Sierra has always said that your goal with this compass assessment is to have a balanced wheel. Mine looks a little janky, and that's totally fine because I already know that health and wellness is my biggest area that I need to work on, because you can see everything else looks pretty balanced. So there's some really even here. This is really high, this is really high, and this is really high. Work and learning and health and wellness, are slightly on the lower end. So she says that when you have a fully balanced wheel, it's where you're going to be the most happy because you've got all of the little bits from each area of life and you're doing really, really well. Even if they're balanced and they're really teeny tiny, you know that you have room to grow. And she also says that this is really shocking to a lot of people because they might not realize everything else is really high, but fun and recreation is at a 2. So I'm super productive in a lot of my areas, but what am I doing in order to have fun and make sure that I can fill my bucket? And she always says too that she uses an analogy, and I'm not going to get it perfectly right. So Sierra, I'm sorry if you ever watch this, but she always says too that this wheel is a lot like pulling a single thread on a sweater. You pull that thread from that one area of life and everything else kind of crumbles and falls, to the wayside. So if I ignore my fun and recreation, everything else is really strong. But once I pull that thread for fun and recreation, everything else is going to come apart from that sweater. And so it took me 3 years to get this, but I'm still working and I'm totally okay with that. So here's your final step, and this kind of gives you the instructions of exactly what I just said. So this is actually a lot of what my wheel looked like in 2020. I had a lot of highs and I had a lot of really deep lows, and it was just very unbalanced. And that was okay. I was totally fine with it because I knew that I was going into this system in order to learn and grow and improve. And so that is your compass assessment, and that is your wheel of life is what she calls it. So because this is digital, I can clearly add in additional pages, and that's what I did before. So your next pages that come in the planner is you have an intentions page. As you see, I did not fill this out, so that's okay. So here it says, what could I use more of in my life this year? What could I use less of in my life this year? What characteristics would I like to nurture this year? The 3 habits I want to develop this year. This year I will be more, fill in the blank. I will do less, fill in the blank. I will give myself grace for, I will let go of, I will embrace. And so here it says, reflecting on your answers to the questions above. Brainstorm and make a mind map if you have to. This page is also where you put in your word of the year. This is the first year since I've been in the system that I chose not to create a word of the year. And I struggled with that for a really, really long time. I actually made a video on it as well because I just I just didn't feel like it was really for me this year. And coming towards the end of the year, I'm actually still pretty okay with it. And I'm undecided on whether I'm going to do a word of the year next year also. But you can put in your word of the year here and you can explain why you chose that word. So if you go back to reflect on this, then you can kind of have a little refresh right there. And then your next page is how do we go about setting goals? So you can start with your annual, go to your monthly, and then go to your weekly. I personally didn't really do annual goals this year. I really struggle with annual goals. I know that that is my weakest goal setting area, is the broad spectrum. I thrive in monthly and weekly actions, and I know that about myself, and that is totally okay. So here it kind of goes through the instructions on how to come about setting goals, committing to goals, and how to think of the goals that you want to do. Is this a goal I have chosen for myself? Or is this somebody else saying, oh my God, you would be such a great lawyer, you should totally do that. And then you just decide all of a sudden, I should be a lawyer. Do you really want to do that? Did you create that for yourself? Does this goal feel good and motivating to me? Do I see myself achieving this goal? Is it realistic? Is it actionable? Is it something that I can break down and kind of focus on small bits at a time? Here you have a little thing about reviewing goals and then removing goals. This one was huge for me. Like part of the reason I never became a goal setter is because I thought for some reason, I don't know why I had this mindset. Like I thought for some reason you say something and you set a goal, you are locked in, you're committed, you can't change it. I want to run a marathon this year. You better train for that marathon, because if you don't get it done by the end of the year, you've failed. And so this was huge for me. And this is another big reason that I came to the MakseLife system with Sierra, is because she's so strong about, if it's not resonating with you, there's no point in keeping it. You can delete it, even if it's temporary. Delete the goal, omit the goal, set it aside, don't even focus on it. When you have that motivation and you want to focus on it, you know that you can come back to it. So removing goals for me personally was a really big deal. And then again, a lot of the design stuff is going to be changing in 2023. So here is how to write goals. Keep your goals short and memorable. 3 to 10 words are ideal. Don't do huge, gigantic sentences. Just say, I want to run a marathon, and that be it. Write approach goals versus avoidance goals by framing them with positive things. So instead of get rid of clutter, be more specific and say, I'm going to clean my garage this weekend. Instead of don't be on my phone before bed, be specific and say, I'm going to leave my phone in the kitchen at night, so you can't be on your phone. Stop checking email on the weekends versus check email only on the weekdays. And so here it says they also must be measurable and specific. They need to answer what, how much, and by when. Instead of exercise more, you need to say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week. Eat healthy. Eat a salad every day this week for lunch. Read a book. Read for 20 minutes 5 days this week. So very, very specific, actionable, and time-sensitive types of goals. The tip down here is, when possible, plan the specific days that you will accomplish these goals, or the habit tracker, and the track the days that you've been completing those goals. Another thing that she has in here are the 3 types of goals. You have stretch goals, progress goals, and maintenance goals. Stretch goals are those really big, huge, gigantic ones. Running a marathon, saving $10,000, things that you know are going to take you an entire year to get to. So progress goals are where you're going to spend the majority of your time in. So if you want to remodel your kitchen, that might take many months to do. So you're going to have to do some research on companies. You're going to have to find supplies. You're going to have to order said supplies. You're going to have to get the construction done. So those are your progress goals, because you're constantly making progress towards them. Your maintenance goals are the tiny little weekly action type tasks. Do a load of laundry every single day, or clean your fridge every single week. Take out your trash on a regular basis every other day. That's kind of your maintenance goals. And then here it kind of goes over all of your breaking down goals. So you basically start with your long-term vision, and then you go into monthly goals, and you take all of the action items that you want to focus on for 1 month. So say you want to save $10,000. Maybe the first month you're going to say, well, I need to do research and see how I can do that. I need to create my budget. I need to figure out how much money I bring in. I need to figure out how much money I am already spending on the necessary things. Look for all the subscriptions, look for all of the recurring, types of things. Maybe invest in talking to a financial consultant, stuff like that. So that could be your first month. Your next month could be, okay, now we're ready to take action, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for a raise at work. I'm going to, stop buying monthly subscription type things. I'm going to get rid of cable and just buy Netflix, stuff like that. So that's your monthly goals. And then it goes even farther into weekly actions, which these are my favorite pages. The weekly actions are my absolute favorite. So your weekly actions are taking all of your monthly goals and dividing it into four weeks, basically. So if you have your big goal of save $10,000, you have your monthly goal of doing your research. Each week you need to make sure you assign what research you want to do. Week 1 could be find a financial consultant. Week 2 could be make the appointment and attend it for your financial consultant. Actually, week 1 would be find a consultant. Week 2 would be getting all of your supplies in order and getting your receipts and getting your budget and getting all your bank statements, and then getting, the third week would be making that appointment and having the actual appointment and doing the consulting and figuring out what your budget is and stuff like that. And week 4 could be actually getting things into place, canceling subscriptions, getting rid of cable and changing things around. So each week you have to designate items to do that will get you to that monthly goal, that will then again get you to that annual goal. You also have some reflection pages in here. I love these pages because this is another thing that I never would have considered doing on a goal setting system, is reflecting on what worked and what didn't work that week. What were my wins? What worked? What didn't work? What lessons did I learn? And what adjustments do I need to do moving forward? And I think that those kind of reflection questions are huge. So basically the way that the system is created, let me get you into, and this is a really cool page. This is examples. I get these questions a lot. I get a lot of people that ask me, well, what is the difference between my personal section and my spiritual growth and personal growth type of thing? So the way I explained it to somebody not too long ago is personal. For me, I have 2 very young kids, ages 8 and ages 6. If it has nothing to do with the children, it's personal. If I want to have self-care, if I need to fill my bucket, if I need to make appointments, my personal is full of rhythms, routines, and my flows, my filling my bucket, my taking care of myself. It has nothing to do with family. It has nothing to do with friends. It has nothing to do with children. My personal growth is my heart and soul, my mindset, everything that has to do with, me feeling at my best. So that's how I explained that to a friend. So here's your annual goals pages. Clearly I didn't do them, but that's okay. So let's go into October. So I've got my October goals here. Okay. So my whole month of October, I am working on finding different rhythms and finding different ways to take care of myself. My fun and recreation, my work and learning, my family and relationships. And just so you know, my first year of using this system, I think I had 1 line in each area. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the areas were completely forgotten. So this took 3 years for me to get comfortable with having this much in my monthly goals. So all of this monthly goals, I broke them down individually into weeks. This week, I said, this is exactly what I want to work on. I want to find a rhythm that works for me in the morning and a rhythm that works for me in the evening. Again, nothing to do with kids, just stuff that will fill my bucket and help me have a better mind space. My health and wellness, look at how specific I was. This goes back to the instructions at the beginning. I want to walk 3 days a week. I don't want to just exercise. This is exactly how I wanted to exercise this week. I wanted to walk 3 days a week. I wanted to try to run 2 days a week, and I wanted to do yoga 3 days a week. My diet, again, extremely specific. Chicken and fish 3 days a week, vegetarian 1 day a week, coffee less than 3, I forgot to write per day, but less than 3 per day, and then decaf tea in the evening. So I was very specific with those because I wanted them to be actionable and I wanted them to be time sensitive. My spiritual growth, I basically used as tracking. I wanted to, clearly I didn't keep this up. I wanted to be present in ClubMakse a couple of times. I wanted to be in my JMB journal and journal. I wanted to write affirmations. My reading, I didn't read this week. Whoops. But I did do some filming for my, YouTube channel. Work and learning was a little bit different. So this is work outside of home. This is personal education, my sign language. And then my physical environment, the first of the month, I have a really big home routine. I needed to sanitize my dishwasher, clean my counter, or seal my counters and sanitize my washing machine. And then I needed to water my grass. And then from there, I went through and I created a weekly tracker. So what lesson did I do in sign language? What was I reading? What did I do for my financial education? Because I wanted to research certain things. How did I spend time with family and friends? How did I track my health? And what was my gratitude? And so that's how I kind of broke all of that stuff down. So after I've done this week, the next page that comes up, I inserted pages. So hang on. The next page that comes up in the paper planner is your reflections page, and then your next weekly actions page. So ideally you should do your reflections and look back at your weekly actions and say, uh-oh, this didn't work. Wait, why did it not work? Why did I not run? Oh, well, my foot hurt because I have plantar fasciitis. Maybe I should delete that for this week and create something different. I was able to walk, and that's great. Celebrate that win. And so this is where you jot down all of your notes from the previous week. From this brainstorm, you create your next weekly actions, and it basically repeats every single week. So like I said, the companion notebooks don't have the weekly pages in it. It's just the goal setting system. So if you're using a different planner, then you don't have to have all of these weekly pages in it as well. So that is the basic gist of the system. I added in a bunch of pages, hang on. And then every 3 months, you retake your compass assessment. Oh, here, it's going to be at the beginning of April. So every 3 months, you retake your compass assessment. And so this was my current. You see how wonky it was? I've been essentially drowning for the past 9 months, basically. So you can see how wonky this was when I first started the compass assessment in the beginning. I update that one every single time I take one. So this is only 3 months into 2022. And you can see from the beginning compass assessment how much I've grown. My health and wellness was a 4. I think now it's 7, maybe, I don't remember. So every 3 months you have your compass assessment, and then you can compare your previous scores to your current scores. Let me see if I did like I said, I wasn't in my digital consistently. And then here is my current one, which is again the one on the beginning. So this is the one that I just did at the very beginning of October compared to, of course, the one at the very beginning. So that's why I think it's really cool that she has these pages in there every 3 months, is because you can see that it's an enormous growth. Even though I said I feel like I'm constantly drowning, I'm still growing. And so I think that that's really cool. I love this system. I could talk forever. I've apparently talked for 34 minutes without editing on this video. So that is the MakseLife system, and that is the goal setting system, and that is how kind of I use my breakdown. Everybody does do it different. If you are interested in the system, I definitely encourage you to do some more YouTube Googling type of thing to see how everybody else utilizes it. But I adore this goal setting system. There's a lot of times where I just kind of set it aside for a while, and I'm okay with that. But I know that when I'm ready to come back to it, I can just jump in at any moment. I don't even have to create monthly goals if I'm not mentally ready to do that. I'll just go straight to my weekly action pages and say, okay, what do I have to work on this week? And then just go from there, because once I get that motivation, I know that I'll eventually get to setting monthly goals again. But again, that is the MakseLife system. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask them down below. I love talking about this stuff, so I could definitely talk about it for a while. So I will be more than happy to have full conversations in the comments. If it is something that you are not comfortable with asking in the comments, definitely find me on my Instagram. I'll put the link down below as well. Go ahead and DM me or IM me, message me, whatever. I don't know what the right term is to say that, but go ahead and let me know what your questions are and what your struggles are, and then I will get back to you over on Instagram as well. But thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long video, and I appreciate you hanging out for half an hour with me. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.